Hi. This is a work of the theme is fiction, but it's all based on reality. And I've woven a nice song, composed a nice song around actual facts on all wars Canada fought in World War I. All right, and this fictitious character, John Smith, soldier. I couldn't come up with a better name. It's easy, it rolls off the tongue nicely. John Smith. So there we go. Anyways, I'm going to begin. I'm going to have set it to Diego Rivera because all the songs, Miles Davis sometimes has a singer, and I had no time to check on all this. All right, so here goes Diego Rivera. Acknowledgements, the Canadian Encyclopedia, Canadian War Museum, and Canada.ca, the Government of Canada website. On January 1st, 1916, the Prime Minister of Canada, Robert Borden, sent 500 soldiers to fight for Britain in World War I. 500 soldiers sent to the jaws of death or to experience the laurels of victory. One soldier, John Smith, volunteered, and he was just 18 years of age. And on day 2, he was with the rest of the troops in the barracks, waiting for further orders to charge into battle. John Smith, with his buddies, underwent military training, and on the 3rd April 1916, the Canadian soldiers relieved British troops in Saint Eloi in Belgium near Ypres. John Smith fought like a brave soldier, although his teeth were chattering. 2 weeks of hard fighting and mess food for staples, and the Germans were battering them with heavy fire and shells. The Battle of Saint Eloi ground to a halt on the 16th of April 1916, and the Canadians, with heavy casualties, lost the battle. Oh my, isn't that sad? John Smith vowed to take revenge, for some of his buddies had died. He licked his wounds and prepared for more battle. Mount Sorel was the venue for an important battle between Canadian and German soldiers. Canada had begun to take this personally. From June 2nd to June 13th, 1916, in this hilly terrain in the Ypres salient in Belgium, John Smith fought for the Canadians to emerge victorious and declare an end to World War I. Of the 702 Canadian soldiers in the regiment who defended against the German attack, only 16 were unhurt, and John Smith shot and wounded several Germans. His teeth by then did not chatter so much. His boyhood had ended. He had to draw bloodshed, he swore to himself. John Smith had some time to rest and do some strategic thinking. He listened to the head of his regiment, and they marched to France partway and went in army trucks some of the rest of the way. Soon, from July 1st to November 18, 1916, the battle was fought on both sides of the River Somme. The British and the French fought against the German Empire. Used to colonial imperialism, the two sides were were surprised with the strength of the German attack. On August 30th, the Canadians entered the battle, and John Smith fought a bloody battle. And by now, killing the enemy had become second nature to him. At night, he sometimes remembered his boyhood days under the summer starry skies, and cried for his lost innocence. If the Battle of Somme or Somme had both sides suffering casualties, the Battle of Vimy Ridge came after a 5-month truce during the winter months. The Canadians had time to study warfare and plan their attack in the Battle of Vimy Ridge, which took place from April 9 to 12 in 1917. The Canadians dug trenches and, under a barrage of machine gun fire, secretly ambushed the Germans from behind and took control of the machine guns. John Smith had fought from the trenches and had covered the soldiers who had planned the ambush. He had had very little sleep for 3 days and had eaten only enough to survive, and was longing for a hot bath and a belated celebration of Easter Monday. He knew he was still 19 years of age, but he could have done with a visit to the cafe with a pretty French girl. What would he have said in his minimal French, Mademoiselle? Date a Canadian man and you forget the French word for kisses, for I'd kiss you senseless. The days went by and it was strict military training, but the summer days were beautiful, and he often thought of his mom's freshly baked bread with fresh butter and his father's ale. August 15th to 25th, 1917, the Canadian soldiers fought in the Battle of Hill 70. John Smith saw Eros whisper in his ear and say, "The brave and the intelligent are remembered for their meritorious conduct." And sure enough, that night, the silvery moon shone on his happy face, for he beheld the vision of Lady Godiva riding without her riding habit, stark naked, and dismount her horse and walk towards him. Life went on for John Smith, and soon in Flanders, where the poppies were wilting with the autumn chill in October 1917, the Canadians launched their attack against the Germans in the Battle of Passchendaele in Belgium, which was being fought by the Allies. Many bodies were buried in the mud, and it was a bloody battle, and the Canadians suffered many casualties. John Smith, who had studied about King Ashoka, the Indian king, disgusted with war and embracing Buddhism, related to how Ashoka had felt with so many of his fellow soldiers killed. There was a Christmas truce which extended to the winter, and from August 8th to 3rd September 1918, the Battle of Amiens was fought in the Picardy region of France. John Smith fought under Lieutenant General Sir A.W. Curry this time, and he, by then, tired of it all and eager to go back home, fought every enemy soldier with a fierce determination to vanquish the enemy. He had so much blood on his hands by the end of the war, which sealed the Allied forces' victory against the German Empire, that one of his soldier friends, with a bullet in his shoulder and being sent back with it in a sling, called him a savage Indian, a man who had forgotten mercy. Look what war had done to John Smith, an 18-year-old boy who set out for war. John Smith felt sad, but was glad that the World War I was over, and he said his prayers to the lost and dead souls and returned to Canada, still a young man, hardened by what he had seen on the fields of battle. That this was the story of John Smith. And and may his soul rest in peace, and may his tribe have increased then, for he deserved a lot of good things coming his way, for he fought for Britain on Canada's side and emerged victorious. This was my song, a little long, and I'm done with it. Thank you. I thought I would set it to classical, but you know, a little more to singing, dancing. Singing is done. Thank you. Give a big hand of applause for Diego Rivera.